After adding cameras and activating recording schedules, DW Spectrum will record camera video to the server's media archive. The video archive will be stored locally only on the computer that is hosting the DW Spectrum server portion of the software. But live and recorded camera video can be viewed locally or remotely from any instance of the DW Spectrum client, as long as you can connect with the server. Viewing a camera in the DW Spectrum client is as easy as selecting a camera and connecting with the device. When a camera has been added to a DW Spectrum server, it will appear within the resource tree in the left panel. Users can double-click on a camera or drag and drop it into the viewing grid to begin watching live video from the camera. As cameras are added to the viewing grid, users can move items around and organize the layout as they see fit. A new layout tab can be created locally for the current viewing session by clicking the plus sign at the top of the screen. If the cameras are arranged in a way that you want to save for later sessions, right-click on the Layout tab at the top of the screen and select Save Layout to save it with the default name, or select Save Layout As to create your own layout name. Saved layouts can be found in the resource tree on the left and opened similarly to cameras. Once a layout has been saved, they can be shared to specific users or user roles on a system in the user management settings. We will discuss user management in a different lesson. Sometimes, you may want to add a background image to a viewing layout for different reasons. For example, adding a map or floor plan as a layout background can add to a user's experience. To add a background image to a layout, open the main menu and click on Open. Select the file and open the desired image file. The image will open as an item in the viewing layout. To set it as a background image, right-click on the image and select Set as Layout Background. It will then be added as a background and scaled to fit the entire layout area. Cameras can then be positioned within the viewing grid and arranged as needed. Remember to save the layout when finished. You can further customize a layout by right-clicking within the viewing area and selecting Layout Settings. Under the General tab, you can anchor camera positions by activating the Locked toggle. You can also enable the Minimum Grid Size toggle to resize the cell sizes of the grid itself. If you need to adjust the sizing or opacity of a layout's background image or replace the image entirely, you can do so under the Background tab. When viewing a camera, users can apply additional viewing features to the displaying image. For example, right-click on an open camera window and select Image Enhancement from the Interaction menu. With Image Enhancement, you can enable the Image Enhancement feature to manually set gamma and image exposure settings, or check the auto box to have Spectrum apply enhancements to the camera image on its own. Hovering over an open viewing window will allow users to apply additional viewing features, depending on the camera type and the presence of analytic plugins. Such features include Object Search and Motion Search, which are smart search options that can be used to filter through recorded video for specific events. We will go over searching archives in the next video, so let's go over the rest of the image controls for now. The screenshot feature simplifies still image capture of a camera stream and can be used to save in either a PNG or JPEG format. All you need to do is click the screenshot button and select the location to save the still image to. Choose the file type, and if you want to include a timestamp and camera information with the image. Any image enhancements that are active at the time of the screenshot, such as the image enhancement or fisheye dewarp features, will appear in the screenshot image as well. Another image control that can help supplement user experience is using a zoom window. To use the zoom window feature, click the Create Zoom Window button and draw a box around a region. A new item window will then open in the current layout, zoomed in on the selected region. You can resize or drag and drop the box to move the zoom region. Zoom window can be helpful for viewing smaller areas of interest for cameras without having to zoom or reposition the camera itself. The Dewarp image control feature is only made available for fisheye or 360-degree panoramic lens cameras. When activated, this feature will automatically dewarp the warped image and change it to create a flat image that is more comfortable to the human eye. Before the dewarp feature can be used, you will need to calibrate the dewarp area. To do so, right-click on the camera and select Camera Settings. Select the Dewarping tab to open the calibration settings. Enable the dewarping toggle at the top of the menu. The slider will show green when activated. Make sure that the selected dewarping type is correct for your camera. Next, click the Auto Calibration button. Spectrum will shape the warp area to fit the fisheye bubble. In the section at the bottom of the menu, indicate if the camera is mounted on the ceiling, wall, or is placed on the floor or a table to ensure that the proper dewarping algorithm is applied for the camera's orientation. If the camera is not mounted at an exact vertical or horizontal position, the angle setting can be adjusted up to 30 degrees to fix distortion for cameras mounted on an angled surface. You can further improve fisheye dewarp precision by selecting the most suitable lens projection type, depending on the camera. The orange calibration circle should be sized and fit on top of the warped image. If needed, you can manually adjust the distortion settings using the sliders on the right. You can also scroll the mouse wheel to resize the circle and click and drag the circle to reposition the calibration area. When finished, click the Apply button to save the settings, then click the OK button to close the camera settings window. Going back to viewing the fisheye camera, the Dewarp button will now be available for the camera. When active, the camera will display as panoramic image and use a high-quality viewing resolution. You can use the PTZ controls to pan around the image as desired and digitally zoom in or out using the plus and minus icons or by scrolling the mouse wheel. You can also change the image to use a 90, 180, or 360-degree panoramic view while using the Dewarp feature. This will affect the aspect ratio of the viewing window, depending on what is selected. When using a PTZ camera, pan, tilt, and zoom controls will be available while viewing in live mode. To activate PTZ control, click on the PTZ icon in the image controls. When activated, you can click and drag to prompt the PTZ camera to pan in the direction that you drag. Zoom in and out by rolling the mouse wheel or by clicking the plus and minus buttons on the left. Additionally, if the camera has ON-VIF absolute move support, you will have access to extended PTZ controls while holding down the Shift key. For example, you can shift-click within the viewing window to have the camera center on that position. You can also hold down the Shift key, then click and drag to draw a rectangle in the viewing area to have the camera frame in on the selected area. Holding Shift, then double-clicking anywhere in the viewing window will cause the camera to zoom all the way out. By default, Spectrum will use a simple PTZ mode to keep the viewing window clear of visual clutter. However, if you prefer to have an overlay when using PTZ controls, you can change the appearance by opening the local settings menu and enabling the Show Aim Overlay for PTZ cameras setting in the Look and Feel tab. Now, when using PTZ controls, you can click and drag the circle in the center of the screen to pan the camera. Zooming in and out can still be done by rolling the mouse wheel, but the plus and minus zoom buttons will appear in the center of the screen above the joystick circle. You can also click and drag to draw a rectangle in the viewing area to have the camera frame in on the selected area, but do not have to hold down the Shift key to use it. In addition to being able to customize and organize layouts, Spectrum allows users to also rotate items in the layout. Click and hold the Rotate button, then drag the mouse to rotate an item. A red directional arrow will indicate that the item is in rotation mode. You can hold the Control key while dragging to limit rotation to increments of 30 degrees at a time. Alternative methods to rotate also include holding the Alt key, then clicking and dragging over an item, or by right-clicking on the item and using the Rotate to context option. An example practical application of this feature might be if a camera was mounted upside down and taking the time to remount the camera is not possible. Clicking the information icon or right-clicking on an item and selecting Show Info will display details about the camera in the bottom left of the viewing window. It will also keep the camera name displaying when you are not hovering over the item with the mouse cursor. The current pixel resolution, frames per second, byte rate of the stream, codec, and the camera stream in use are among the details that will show, but only while hovering over the item. An alternate way to activate the Show Info feature is by right-clicking on the item to use the Show on Items context option, then selecting Info. The last image control button will close and remove the item from the current layout. Alternatively, you can left-click on an item in the viewing area and tap the Delete key to remove it from the layout. Assuming that there is a recording license activated on a camera and that a recording schedule is applied, the camera will continue to record to the video archive even after it has been removed from the layout. We will go over how to playback and navigate archived video in the next lesson.